Good Tuesday morning. I'm meteorologist Llarisa Abreu. Everyone has their eyes set on tropical storm, or I should say Hurricane Idalia. Right now it is a Category 1 storm, a high-end Cat 1 storm with winds at 85 miles an hour. It's moving north and it's moving at 14 miles an hour. You can see here already outer bands making its way towards western parts of the state. The good news for us is that we're not playing here as far as Miami is concerned, Broward is concerned, but you can see here much of the state of Florida under some kind of alert, weather alert on this Tuesday morning. So let's go ahead and talk about who's seeing what. The blue that you see across much of the state is a tropical storm warning, and that includes just north of the Naples area. Now let's go ahead and talk about the yellows, because this extends even into South Carolina. We're talking a tropical storm watch that's in effect, and Naples also under this tropical storm watch. And of course the red is where we currently have hurricane warnings that are in place, and that includes big cities, big metro areas like Tampa, Cedar Key, extending just outside of Tallahassee. So a good portion of the state will be dealing with these impacts as Hurricane Idalia continues to intensify as it moves north and eventually makes landfall as a strong Category 3 storm by Wednesday morning. Now, one thing we're going to be watching for is landfall here late morning with winds coming in at 125 miles an hour. And those are your sustained winds. You can see here the storm is going to quickly move out. It is moving quickly, which is good news, but it's going to hug the coast. And as it does, it will weaken and then eventually kind of move right back out towards sea. So we're going to be watching that closely. But right now, all impacts will be across the state of Florida. And then eventually those impacts will be felt as far north as North Carolina. Here's a look at rain, because this is very impressive. Again, Miami, impacts for us are not going to be felt too much. We're just dealing with wind, we're dealing with rain, but you can see these brighter colors. Anytime you see the oranges and the reds, that's always an indication of heavy rain. And the good news with landfall with this is that this particular area, the Big Bend of Florida, is a marshy area. So that's where we anticipate landfall as a strong Category 3 storm. This is going to race across the state, eventually diminishing as it continues to interact with plenty of landmass. But this is going to make landfall, as we just mentioned, Wednesday morning. And we're thinking late morning is when this storm will eventually strike Florida and continue to bring huge impacts across the Sunshine State. We're also tracking the potential for storm surge. In fact, the pinks and the reds that you see behind me, this is where storm surge watches and warnings are in effect. And this is going to be the primary concern. Forget the wind, forget the rain, is the storm surge. So what is storm surge? It's basically when the winds of a hurricane shove the ocean water onto land, and these areas are absolutely vulnerable as they're low-lying, and so any of that additional water on top of rain is going to create the threat for flooding. How much storm surge are we talking? This is significant. Notice the numbers. We're talking 8 to 12 feet in some spots. So that is about a foot of rain, a foot of water on top of that rainwater in those purple locations that you see. We travel south, where Tampa, you're going to see anywhere between 4 to 7 feet of storm surge. And then, of course, that number begins to come down as we get closer to South Florida, as this storm, the core of it, stays well to our west. So we'll be watching that as we continue here. We're going to have another update for you at 2 o'clock. Please join us then. For now, stay up to date and stay safe out there.